An exhibit coming to the Manitou Arts Center, an opening on Friday, March 6th from 5 to 8 p.m. It's called Lonely Hope, featuring the works of artist John Sargent, inspired by writings. John is here with me. John, nice to meet you.
Thanks for having me.
Now, these are a series of paintings that you've done, but these are based on writings on the topic of loneliness, which were given to you by folks. I mean, just folks in general. You kind of put out a call for these writings?
So, yes, I put out a call across the United States for people to share about their experiences with loneliness and how they positively dealt with them. And that went into a blog that displayed the writings once a week for a year. And at that time, the blog had photographs with them. And then when I had an opportunity for a solo show at the Manitou Arts Center, I was thinking about I'd like for these writings to grow a little bit. And I thought it'd be interesting to do a painting for me to really get more into their story and kind of experience it through the art of creation. And so that led to me putting the show together.
Well, it's ironic that in this day and age where we are most connected technically, loneliness is still a thing. And we have so much information out there, but ignorance is still a thing. What inspired you to deal with the topic of loneliness and to start this whole project?
Well, believe it or not, it was the Charlie Brown Valentine's Day special, if you can believe that. There was a scene in there where Charlie Brown asked Lucy if she can cure loneliness for 5 cents, and she says, well, for a nickel, I can cure anything.
Okay.
And that's a pretty cute scene, but then it made me start thinking about, well, is loneliness something to be cured, or is it something to be understood and talked about? And kind of through the process of putting this project together, one of the things that I realized that loneliness really is a normal part of being a human being. It's only a problem when we get stuck. And we're getting more and more studies that show the negative health consequences of people that are lonely. But to admit that you're lonely really is to say that you're a human being, but it's still largely stigmatized because people don't go out and say, hey, I'm lonely. They always want to be saying, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this event. And so, so that's how it kind of came about.
I've talked about this before, but your opinion, do you blame, in part at least, social media, where you see the best aspects of people's lives these days? If you look at a Facebook feed, you're going to see usually the best of someone's life, but not the rest of it. And other people buy into that and think that, wow, my life is not like this. What's wrong with me?
I think it's kind of a symptom of something that probably was always there. Because, you can go back in the 1950s and it was about the car that you were driving. And that kind of indicated, what kind of life and what kind of person you are. So I think it's changed over time. And I think, we're hearing more and more about studies about people that are on social media and the rates of depression. But then when you really get into it, everyone's got problems and struggles and things. And being able to be honest about those, and again, finding positive ways of dealing with them. If you don't feel like you can speak out and be honest about where you're at, then you can't go about, trying to change that feeling.
You paint, but you also are a filmmaker and a photographer as well?
Yeah, so I kind of...
Diverse.
Kind of jack of all trades, but master of none. But yeah, I've done a lot of figurative photography that's explored masculinity, and I've done some experimental films. And so it's nice to have different mediums that can kind of best tell the kind of story that I want. And sometimes it's film, sometimes it's painting, or sometimes it's photography.
I'd like to remind listeners I'm speaking to artist John Sargent of Figurative Arc. You can find out more at figurativearc.com. Figurative Arc is also on Facebook. His blog is lonelymythos.com. wordpress.com to find out more about this, Lonely Hope, which will be opening at the Manitou Arts Center on Friday, March 6th from 5 to 8 p.m. That's the opening reception. The exhibit will run through the end of April, and the show incorporating writings people did about their experiences with loneliness, and they sent them in to John, and he created paintings from some of these. Are you primarily a painter, do you think? Or do you just do a bit of, you said jack of all trades, but...
Yeah, I tend to have like different periods where I'm focused on one thing. So I was focused on photography for a long time.
Yeah.
And I even did theater, and I did that for a while. And painting was something I started soon after high school, and then kind of got involved in these other things. So it seems to go in circles, where I come back to different things, and then I leave it for a while, and then I come back. But I'm excited to be doing painting again and exploring these different themes.
What type of media do you like the most? Oil, acrylic?
These paintings were done in acrylic, which is new for me, because when I started painting, I did oils. And so I was doing a lot of different techniques, also using mixed media, found objects. And so a lot of experimentation in for this show, leaving behind some of the stuff that I've done before and seeing what I could do with acrylics. So it was a lot of fun.
And again, you can find out more information about John Sargent and his work. His website is Figurative Arc, and that's ARC.com, and Figurative Arc is on Facebook as well. The blog is lonelymythos.wordpress.com. And again, it's Lonely Hope, an opening reception at the Manitou Arts Center Friday, March 6th, 5 to 8 p.m., and the exhibit running through the end of April. And John, so nice to meet you, and thank you for contacting me and coming out.
Yeah, thanks for coming out, and I hope people have an opportunity to come out to the show and hear these stories about resiliency and just how people are facing things like loneliness and the hope that comes with that.
That's the thing. It's an extremely common thread. I think everyone has that. It's just like hunger and sleep. Loneliness comes to everyone.
Yeah, unless we talk about it openly, then it's harder for people to see that, and they think that they are alone, and they're not.
Well, thanks.
Thank you.